Have you ever seen someone go on live television and light a match under the most powerful people in the world? Not with a prepared speech, not with a teleprompter, but with a single folder clutched in their hands like it held something alive. This is a story about what happens when someone decides to stop playing the game. It was supposed to be a standard Friday panel on MSNBC. You know the routine. 4 talking heads, a polite host, 30 minutes of predictable political jabs before everyone goes home for the weekend. But on this day, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett wasn't there to play along. She sat in her chair, a black blazer, simple gold earrings, looking every bit professional. But there was that folder. The host, Clint Brower, kicked things off, talking about ethics investigations in D.C. Everyone else chimed in with their usual sound bites. Crockett just waited, nodding, listening, and when the host finally turned to her, she didn't just answer the question. She changed the entire conversation. "Before we pretend this is all just about Hunter Biden," she said, her voice cutting through the polite chatter, "maybe we need to talk about the emails no one wants to touch." The table went silent. You could almost hear the producers screaming in the control room. Clint, the host, blinked. "Congresswoman, what emails are you referring to?" That's when she placed the folder on the table. She opened it and slid out 3 pages, covered in highlighter. "These are from an anonymous source," she said, holding them up. "Internal communications between a Trump associate and a finance firm. They mention routing legal funds through a shell company to cover campaign-related costs." One of the other panelists coughed. Another stared off camera, probably looking for an escape route. The host tried to jump in. "Just to be clear, we haven't seen or verified." Crockett raised her voice, not with anger, but with a cold, hard firmness. "I didn't come here to be polite. I came here because people are playing dumb while breaking the rules in broad daylight." She looked straight into the camera, at the millions of people watching at home. The name of that shell company, Firefly Atlantic Holdings. It didn't exist until 3 months before the last election, and now it's gone. By the time they cut to commercial, social media was already on fire. The clip was everywhere. Jasmine drops the receipts. She named names. Within 30 minutes, Trump's office fired back. "Jasmine Crockett is a reckless liar." The statement read, "These so-called emails are fabricated trash." But Crockett wasn't apologizing. Back in the green room, her aide, Dion, showed her the phone. The clip already had 400,000 views. CNN was calling. NBC was calling. But it was a grainy video posted by someone claiming to work in the finance office in Mesa, Arizona, that really lit the match. It showed 2 men walking down a hallway with a document labeled Firefly Legal Bundles, Q3. That was it. That was the spark. But this wasn't just about a document. It was about how she did it. The calm defiance. The fact that she didn't hedge or stumble. She had just poked the biggest bear in American politics, live on national television. And things were about to get very, very personal. Back at his Florida estate, Trump's inner circle was in a panic. "Firefly Atlantic Holdings," one aide muttered, scrolling through his phone. How the hell does she know that name? Trump himself took to True Social, blasting Crockett in all caps. "She's a fraud. A hoax." His followers mobilized instantly. Crockett's email was flooded with threats. Her website was hit with a bot attack. Her social media was a swamp of snake emojis and conspiracy theories. That night, in her apartment, Crockett ignored the noise. She rewatched the clip, but this time she focused on the other panelists. The way they shifted in their seats. The flicker of panic in the host's eyes. That's when she knew. She hadn't just touched a nerve. She'd hit something buried deep. The next morning, she went on CNN and doubled down. "If you don't want the truth on live TV," she told the host, "then don't invite me. I'm here to ask why a company with no employees, no website, and no paper trail was sending 6-figure payments to attorneys handling election lawsuits." The fallout was immediate. Protesters, both for and against her, showed up at her office. But the moment that truly grounded her happened at a gas station just outside Dallas. She'd slipped away from her team for just 10 minutes apiece. As she was walking back to her car, an older black woman stopped her. She didn't say much. She just put a hand on Crockett's arm and said, "Don't you let them scare you quiet." It wasn't dramatic. It was real. It was human. And it was all Crockett needed. Back in the car, she looked at Dion. "I'm not scared of them," she said. "I just hate that they think they're untouchable." While she was standing firm, her team was digging. They traced a name from the emails, Drew Bellamy, to a ghost-like LinkedIn profile, a private finance consultant with no history before 2019. They traced the money from Firefly to another shell company, Saffron Dynamics, moving similar amounts of money to the same law firms. It was a pattern, not proof, but a trail. Crockett found a number for Drew Bellamy and called it. A man answered. "Who's this?" "You already know," she said. "I need to talk to you. Off the record." Click. The line went dead. That night, a voicemail came through on her phone. No caller ID, just a calm, deliberate man's voice. "You don't know who you're messing with. Stay in your lane." She played it twice. Staying in her lane had never been her strength. And someone had just made it personal. The meeting was set for a half-empty parking lot in Arlington. Dusk. The air was heavy. A gray sedan circled twice before parking. The window rolled down. "You alone?" a man's voice asked. It was Drew Bellamy. He was younger than she expected, and nervous. He handed her a flash drive. "Everything I saved before they told me to delete it," he said, his voice low. "I don't know what you're looking for, but it's all there." "Why now?" Crockett asked. "Because I don't like being used," he said. "Firefly was a burner. One job, then vanish. I didn't know the whole game, not at first. But then I saw the invoices, payments of things that didn't exist, to lawyers who weren't even licensed in the state. And Saffron Dynamics." Crockett pressed. He flinched. Firefly's ghost. They started folding the assets into it right after the election. "You're not wrong to link them." Before he left, he looked at her. Why are you doing this when everyone else just plays it safe?" She met his gaze. "Because if I don't, they win. Twice." Back in her car, she plugged the drive into a secure laptop. Folders opened. Transactions. Names. Memos. One subject line screamed out at her. "Election compliance workaround structure. Do not distribute." It wasn't a smoking gun. It was a map to the armory. But as she was connecting the dots, others were working to erase them. A few days later, the call came. Drew Bellamy was gone. Vanished. His phone was off, apartment empty, car missing. He was her only human confirmation, and now he was off the grid. The pressure from her own party intensified. "You're not a prosecutor, Jasmine." One congressman yelled on a group call. "We have committees for this." "And what have those committees done?" She shot back. The line went silent. That's when she got an offer. Roselle Hayworth, one of the party's biggest donors, cornered her in a hallway on Capitol Hill. She was smooth, powerful, and direct. "You're walking a thin wire, Jasmine," she said. "Let this go. Walk it back a little. Doors will stay open for you. Leadership tracks, money, endorsements. And if I don't?" Crockett asked. Hayworth's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Then I hope you're comfortable walking alone." Crockett looked right at her. "I'd rather walk alone with my spine straight than crowded in with cowards." She was truly on an island. Her key witness was gone. Her party was trying to bribe her into silence. Her life was being threatened by an army of online trolls. It felt like the walls were closing in. And then a letter arrived, hand-delivered, no return address. Inside, a single type page. It read, "I was in the room. Firefly wasn't the only shell. There were 6. Check filings in Wyoming under the name East Point Collective. They rerouted donations through that and sent a clean cash back through media buys. You've only scratched the surface. Be careful." Suddenly, the map wasn't just bigger. It led to a whole other continent of corruption. East Point Collective. Her team found it. Small payments, all just under the legal threshold for mandatory reporting. A perfect way to wash money in plain sight. She knew she couldn't do this alone anymore. She took everything. The flash drive, the anonymous letter, the new research, to a small group of trusted House members, former prosecutors, and ethics experts who knew what they were looking at. One of them, a former white-collar crime prosecutor, looked up from the folders, his face grim. He just nodded once. This is how they did it. The story had started with Trump, a name everyone knew. But now, Crockett saw the full machine. This wasn't just about one man. It was about a system that had been built, piece by piece, by people who believed the rules didn't apply to them. Lawyers, lobbyists, donors, all looking the other way. She held a press conference. No podium this time. Just her, standing on the steps of the Capitol. The systems we trust to keep power in check are too polite to confront it, she said, her voice ringing out. They will study it, file it, and analyze it, but they will rarely act on it. Well, I am not built for polite silence. What I've found isn't just about one candidate. It's about how easy it's become to manipulate our democracy. And the worst part is, we've trained ourselves to look away. I am handing over everything I have to the Oversight Committee. If this evidence disappears, she said, looking right into the cameras, I won't. That night, she got a call. An unfamiliar number. A voice she didn't recognize, but it was someone from the inside. Someone from Trump's world. I saw the conference. The voice said, if you want to know who tied Firefly and East Point together, look up the photos from the 2019 GOP retreat in San Diego. There's one man who is in both circles. He's the one who connects it all. What's his name? Crockett asked. A pause. You'll know him when you see him. Click. That night, Crockett scrolled through the photos from that retreat. And there, smiling in the background of a group shot, was a man she recognized. A quiet donor. Someone who never made headlines. But he was there. The missing link. The man in the middle of it all. She circled his face with a pen and whispered to herself, no more silence. Sometimes, one person speaking up doesn't fix the whole broken system, but it forces everyone to finally see who has been thriving in the dark. And that's where real change begins. Not in the noise, but in the truth you can no longer ignore.